For today's project, I headed down to my local hardware store and I grabbed one of these solar lights. First thing I got to do though is I went ahead and bought a pre-made fence post. And this is going to be great. It's already primed, but I do need to add some paint. It's best to get some high quality outdoor paint. I'm going to paint this one white. The next step was to get my house numbers. I wanted to lay those out about the middle of the post. When I put them in, I do want to pre-drill. It does come with nails, but I don't want to pound on it and damage the number. So I'm going to go ahead and pre-drill and they'll go in pretty easy. Once I get the first number on, I'm going to go up from there and do my middle number and my last number. Once I get those installed and they're looking good, then I headed on down to Dollar Tree and I grab one of these stands right here. All I need though on this stand is the bottom part. I need that U shape. Once I put this on it a couple of times, it clips right off. Look at that. Back and forth and it'll come right off. Now back to that solar light. I don't need the bottom portion. I can get rid of that. And then I'm going to drill a hole in the bottom. The reason is I want to drill a hole just big enough for the metal stand to go through. Once I get that all the way through, then I'm going to go ahead and take it and put it on there and it should pop right into place. And it's also cool because it can rotate on there and it holds it up pretty nice. Now it's time to attach it to the post. This is pretty simple. I'm just going to use some electrical clips that go on there. I just need 2. You can put 3 if you want. They screw in really nice. Once I got that, it rotates up and it's ready for the light. I noticed that the stand is going to go too far into the pot that I bought. So what I want to do is nail this little fence picket on just to give it a little bit of an extra oomph on the bottom. The next step is to add some concrete. As you can see, I always put water in the bottom so it doesn't stick, and then I put the concrete in and then put some more water on top. You can hand mix it if you want, but I went ahead and used a paddle, put it on my drill, and kept mixing. Again, just add a little bit of water as you need. Don't put too much water in. And you want to get to a consistency where the post can go inside the pot. Now, I'm going to slip it on down, push it all the way to the bottom, and that's okay if it doesn't cover everything because we have a solution in the end. But we need to hold this up while the concrete is drying overnight. I just took 2 boards, put them right across the top with some clamps. Make sure it's straight and level and it holds up. The next day after the concrete dries, I can take those off and it's really strong. Look at this. It holds pretty nice and it's not going to go anywhere. And it's got a good strong base. I'm going to put some drain holes in the bottom. Go ahead and put it where I want next to my house. And then I'm going to add some potting soil. Good quality potting soil. Don't skimp on that because when we plant, we want to make sure it's good. And make sure we don't have any unwanted guests hanging around. I'm going to go ahead and plant some flowers in there and make it look really nice. Once I get all these planted, I want to make sure that I add some water because they're starters, get a good root system going, and then it's time to put on that solar light. Again, we're going to take that stand, put it on there, and look at this. This thing looks absolutely amazing. I love it with the house numbers on there and everything. And when night comes, watch this. It's absolutely going to glow and give a nice special effect. I love it. Charges during the day and it glows up at night, and it actually turned out pretty good.
So this cinder block I had left over from a previous project. I also had all this broken glass that I've been saving in this bucket. So I began by taking my broken down pieces and laying them on top of the flat surface of my cinder block in a pattern that I thought was pleasing. I then also had the idea to incorporate these letters. I picked these up super cheap for like $2. They were left over from a letter board and the letters didn't get sold, so they just wanted to sell them off super cheap at a home decor store. So I placed them here in the word bloom on top of the cinder block. I did have to cut off the piece that goes into the letter board so that they would sit more flat. And then I continued to layer in my pieces of broken glass in a pattern that made sense to me and that looked good. So I had all these pretty flower pieces from a broken teacup. I layered these on and then I took some liquid nails and then I just began applying the pieces down piece by piece, making sure that they were glued securely. You don't have to worry about over oozing glue underneath of your letters and your pieces because I am going to go ahead and cover this with grout. So if the glue oozes out, it's not a big deal. I made sure to let the liquid nails set for at least 12 hours. Once the glue is set, I came in with this pre-mixed grout, and then I began to grout over top of the broken glass and the letters. You can use regular grout that you have to mix yourself. I just find the pre-mixed grout super easy to work with. It's ready to go, and then I can just continue on with my project. So I used a putty knife, making sure that I got it into all the cracks and the grooves in between the glass pieces and my letters. I did go very heavy with the grout just because I wanted to make sure that it got into all the cracks and grooves. Then I took a wet sponge and I began to sponge off the majority of the grout to reveal the glass and the letters underneath. And I continued working until you could see all of the glass and the letters. I made sure to scrape around the sides as well to make sure that no grout was overhanging in a messy look. Once I had done this and applied it all and made sure that it was clean and ready to go, I let this set for at least a day and a half. Then once it was done, I could go ahead and place it in my garden and set it up with some cute, adorable plants. So here is my finished cinder block. I think this is such a creative project. I am so happy with how it turned out. And the beauty of this project is you can take this idea and do whatever you like with it. I really hope that you enjoyed this one. Thanks so much for tuning into Hometalk, and we'll see you on another video.
For today's project, why don't you go ahead and use your printer and print out the numbers to your house. You're going to print all of them that you need in the largest font you can. Once you get these cut out, tape it down to some foam board that you can get from Dollar Tree. Now, the font that I found was not large enough, so I took a ruler, put it on the edge of all my numbers, and I traced around the sides. This gives me a thicker number to work with. Cutting it out is easy though. You just can take an X-Acto knife or any type of razor blade. Put some cardboard underneath, that way you won't cut through to your table. Press firmly, but go slow. We want to make sure that we get right along the lines and as straight as possible. Go ahead all the way on the outside. Now, if there's any chance that you did not cut all the way through, you can go back very lightly and make sure you cut. Get all the outside, including any inside cuts that you need to get. Once it's cut out, go ahead and pull it all the way out, including that inside, and it pops right out. And there's our number. Now, the secret is we got to turn it upside down because we're going to make a mold of our number, but it's got to be a mirror image. So with some painter's tape, I just go ahead and put it on the bottom of the number halfway, and then I cut out some 2-inch strips of foam. These are straight, and I put them along the edge as I measure, and I tape them up the side. You're going to do this all the way around each one of your numbers. Once you get all of these up, look at this nice form that we made out of the number. And again, it's a mirror image. Next, I got a wood dowel, and I'm going to put this in the bottom. Just push it through. It'll eventually pop through. And this is going to go inside our form. Once we get that, pour a little bit of water in your mixing bucket and put some regular old concrete in there. Now, make sure you do this outside. It does get pretty dusty. You want to make sure you don't mix too much. And if you need to mix it by hand, a little bit at a time is always best. Now I put some gloves on because concrete can go ahead and be a little irritant to the skin. Once you put these gloves on, you can just go ahead and slowly scoop it in. I recommend not pouring it in because this is a foam outline. So we want to make sure it goes in nice and neat. Once you get it in, go ahead and give it a little bit of shaking, just like some Jello, and then you're going to tap the edges. This is going to get rid of any bubbles on the side. Just go all the way around, back and forth, but very gently, so we can get rid of any bubbles and it'll fill it in. After 24 hours, you can go ahead and pull all of the foam away. It's going to come out really nice. Now, once you get it all off, let it dry a little bit longer and you can paint it and do anything you want with it. But use the dowels and you're going to stick it into the ground and it's absolutely going to turn out amazing. This is my final project out by our front yard, and that way any future deliveries, we know that they're going to see our address. I hope this inspired you to build your own DIY concrete house numbers.
Head to your local dollar store for this adorable home update. I grabbed 1 basket and 10 of these wooden pieces. Once I got my supplies home, I set to work staining them using these easy staining cloths that I had in the garage. Once they were dry, I set up 2 of the wooden pieces vertically, and then I added the rest of my wooden pieces horizontally. 8 of these pieces fit perfectly over the 2 vertical ones. The next step was to secure these in place, which would have been really easy if I had a nail gun at hand, but I didn't, so I just used some 1-inch nails and put those in place. Now I was ready to add house numbers to my project. I had purchased these 4-inch house numbers because I only needed 2 digits. I nailed these into place and my project was looking pretty good. The next thing I did to finish it up was to add some pretty flowers. I love the way the flowers look and how they bring color to the project. The last step is simply to hang it up. And here's how mine looks in front of my door. I love how it looks, and it coordinates with the color of my door as well. I hope this inspires you to have fun with a little house address project of your own.
If you're in the mood for a spring project, grab a 1/4-inch thick ply, wood numbers, and a bunch of flower. I started by cutting the 1/4-inch thick plywood into required sizes for a flower box. You can use any saw you have or get them cut to size at your local store. You'll need a 12-inch long signboard, a 15 by 20-inch backer board, 3/4-inch frame pieces, and cuts for the box in these dimensions. Next, I began assembling. I glued the frame pieces on top and either sides. Then I put together the pieces for the box. I used painter's tape to temporarily hold them together while the glue dries. The box is then attached to the backer board. I added extra weights on top to help it bond. Next, I sanded all the sides to smooth the edges, and then painted the whole box with multiple coats of outdoor grade white spray paint. I applied attractive base colors to both sides of the signboard. While this dries, I crafted permanent vinyl stickers using a Cricut machine. This wood sign is reversible, featuring welcome on one side and hello spring on the other. You can create multiple signs like this for various seasons and themes and swap them as you need. Next, I added 2 white hooks underneath the box. I drilled holes to the signboard and attached twine to hang it on the hooks. I then installed sawtooth hanger on the back of the baseboard. After that, I placed some foam inside the box and arranged colorful flowers to my liking. Next, I painted the wooden numbers black and fixed them on the box. This flower box not only serves as an address sign but also elevates the curb appeal. Plus, it's effortless to swap out signs and flowers to suit different seasons and themes. Thanks for watching and stay tuned for more creative ideas in my next video.